Hello, Internet. This video is late.
Well, that's okay.
My name's Sam. This is After Campfire, and let's have a conversation about mental health. For those who don't know this, because I'm not nearly as vocal about it as other people who I know are. I have really bad ADHD and depression and anxiety and depression and oh god, the depression was real. And I don't, by personal choice, I choose to not take medications for any of those things, which is not something I will ever recommend to someone. If you leave this video thinking at all that you should not take medication if you need it, then you've completely missed the point of everything I'm about to talk about, which is terrible. So don't miss that point. If you need meds, take your medication. It's important to ask for help. With that said, I don't take any medications for it, which is by personal choice and comes from a place of having grown up on ADHD medication my entire life, having taken like anti-anxiety medications, and not having very good reactions to them, depending on like the kinds that I had. Which at times will make my life a lot easier, and at times make my life a lot more difficult. I had to go through a lot to be able to get to a point where I can do this functionally. And the whole reason that this video is late is because I got some bad news like a bit over a week ago that put me into a really fun depressive state, which was the culmination of this bad news, the realization that I was not taking care of myself mentally and emotionally, and just a couple other factors that have been playing for such a long time that it got to a point where just thinking about doing anything just set me into a bad spiral. And thankfully, people understand this. Henry understands stuff like this. Most of my friends understand it. My family gets it, and I'm doing much better now. But in that time, it was so difficult to get up, to go to class, to work, to talk to people, to do pretty much anything. And it's one of those things where it's very important, like, always check on your friends, be a good person, support people, but also check on yourself. It's so important that we're doing things to take care of ourselves mentally, emotionally, physically, whether that's going for routine vaccinations, like having a me day, just kind of checking to make sure we're not burning ourselves out. All of this stuff has such a big impact on our lives and our abilities that and we don't think about it. Often we get caught into like the small minutiae of things to the point where we completely forget that we matter as a person. And it was not good. It was a bad time to be a Sam, to say the least. And like I wasn't able to. I struggled with explaining how I was feeling. I struggled with all this stuff, and when I finally like got it and figured it out and started like working on myself again, the time for the last video had passed, and I was just like, So that is an honest thing. My advice for anyone who watches this is please take care of yourself. We always talk about checking in with others, making sure your friends are okay, all that, and yeah, that is important. But you must also be okay. There's that old thing in the old phrase from airplanes. You have to put the mask on yourself before you can put it on someone else, because it's important to take care of yourself. So with that, I took this weekend off I did not go to work. I did not communicate with people. Very few people knew where I was. I had like a few friends. Um, and in this time span, I started doing things for myself. I started writing more. I started submitting poetry. I went to open mics. I wrote scripts. I slept, which I hadn't been doing. I played hockey today, and like it was all this stuff that like I just needed to do because it keeps me happy. Um, and it's so important to do that for yourself because it doesn't matter how hard you work. It doesn't matter how good you are at your job because you need to make sure you're taking care of yourself. And the first step of that is checking in, taking time to do things that are good for you emotionally, and being honest with yourself. That's my story. That's why this video is late. That is why I did not make one last week because I physically was at a point in my life where I could not. With that said, I should answer my own question. About 2 weeks ago, there was a mass shooting in a synagogue in Pittsburgh, and it's terrible. And since then, all of these anti-Semitic attacks are all over the news, of people graffitiing synagogues, people threatening Jewish schools. There was a guy who went to a Fiddler on the Roof in Maryland and screamed Heil Hitler and Heil Trump over and over again. And it's one of those things that when it happened, I was at a loss for words. And I asked Henry what he would do, and he has a bunch of answers about feeling numb and feeling kind of sad and not doing anything, just doing that. And he was like, "Oh, Sam's gonna be disappointed." And I'm not. I'm not disappointed because each of us handle things in our own way. I don't agree with it. I'm not a fan of being numb. As hard as it is, you want to, in my mind, I'd much rather feel what everyone is going through because there's only so many of us on this planet and we're all only here for such a short amount of time, and we should probably take care of each other and ourselves, which leads to that whole like speech that I just gave like 5 seconds ago. And so my answer for myself to that question is I am lucky enough where I have the luxury of teaching electives. And one of my electives is an international politics class where we get to talk about the news and talk about the difficult things and talk about how hard it is to be a person right now and what that looks like. This is going to be a long video. So, with that said, I think for me, what to do is to talk, to make it a teaching moment, to help people. I had friends who had no idea that their silence meant so much to those of us who were struggling, and so I made sure that people knew that. That if you're supposed to be an ally, you need to be vocal because it needs to happen. Like I had friends who I didn't know where they stood, and that's scary. So that being said, my answer to my own question is I think it's important that we talk. I think it's important that we ask questions, and I think it's important that we help. All while taking care of ourselves. So that's my question to myself. Henry asked me a stupid question because he gave me a stupid rule that was stupid. Henry asked if I would see any Super Smash Bros. Character in game, who would it be? And then put the stipulation that it can't be Waluigi, which is the only character I want in Smash. Okay? And he's like, don't bring up Daisy. I'm going to bring up Daisy. Daisy doesn't have her own game. Daisy doesn't deserve to be in Smash. Daisy's a punk-ass bitch. I don't like her. I have a personal vendetta against the character of Daisy. And I'm angry. I'm so mad about this. Because, like, Waluigi deserves it. He's been in Mario games since literally 2000 in the first Mario Tennis. He is a consistent character in all of the side games. In Mario Party, in Mario Kart, in any of the Mario sporting games, in Mario Tennis, in Mario, he was the big bad villain in Mario Dance Dance Revolution. Like, he deserves this because he's a good man with a good soul who just wants to just smash. And I'm so angry about it. So here's a list of every other character that should be in Smash. Because I'm angry. I'm angry. Other characters that should be in Smash. I think the Pikmin should not be connected to Olimar. Fuck it. Yeah, they have their own game. They have 3 of them. I think the entire mansion in Luigi's Mansion should have its own game. Fight me, Henry. I don't. The only thing that I wanted in Smash was Waluigi. Like, that was it for me. That was all I cared about. So who would I want? If it were a Pokemon, I'd want Gengar. Especially from, like, Pokken Tournament Gengar, because he's awesome. If it's not a Pokemon, and it has to be from a completely different game, I would love to have... I don't even know. I didn't think about this, actually. I like Gengar. I would love, what's it called? I mean, we put a fucking... Excuse me, I get really angry about this. We put a plant in, but not Boo. I'm not talking about Dragon Ball Z Boo. All of that would be hilarious. I mean, like, Boo. Like, King Boo. No? Okay, fine. Super mad. I'm still mad about this question. I can't come up with an answer because I'm so angry. There's a lot of characters that, like, we could totally get away with if Nintendo really wanted to put their foot down. Slippy! Slippy, get back here! Slippy, got a bogey on my tail! Slippy, no! Any of the Sonic characters that aren't in, like, why not Knuckles and Tails? Like, it's stupid. There's stupid ones that we're not putting in. Shadow had his own video game. It was terrible. It was way too edgy. Worked way too hard to be edgy. He could be in the game. I'm just mad that you said Waluigi could not be in the game. Because I'm offended. Because this kind of purism is garbage. Also, Springman, Ribbon Girl, any of the characters from ARMS. A horribly underrated game. None of them? Okay, cool. They'd be great! Like, could you imagine, like, it was like Lil Mac on steroids? It would be awesome. So I can't do Waluigi. I'll fight him. Anyway, my question to Henry is all about self-care, because that's kind of the theme of the episode. And Henry, what's something that you used to do, that you loved doing, that you don't do anymore, but, like, that was, like, you taking care of yourself? Like, for me, hockey for my entire life was my form of exercise. I just haven't gotten to play that much because of grad school and work, and I'm trying to play more. What about you? What's your one form of, like, self-care that you like? What do you do for yourself that you wanna, either you don't do anymore or you really just like to do and keep doing? That's it. It says I can't use